you think one of the reasons the pastor is not flowing with the worship team is that they're not part of the worship from the beginning of the service? Or is it still the responsibility of the worship leader? This has been a bone of contention for quite a while now. Why do pastors not start the service all the time with the worship team? In some instances, we've been informed. Notice the choice of my words. We've been informed that there are certain other preparations the pastor does as well, just before coming down. Now, truth is, it differs from ministry to ministry, or should I say from church to church. Some churches, the pastor will still come down at the early stages of the worship. In some churches, he'll come down towards the end of the worship, just before worship concludes. It is not you. The worship leader does not have the responsibility per se to determine the mood of the pastor. Your responsibility is towards God, first of all. Obviously, you would have had instructions from the pastor in terms of the direction of the service. That should always be the case. In the case whereby it's not the case, I would be surprised where that happens, to be honest. It should always be the case that the music team and the pastor are aligned. There's an understanding as to what is the expectation or the direction of the service. It might not necessarily be in detail, but there should be a general understanding as to what is the direction of the service. For example, it could be a service of thanksgiving, or it could be a service whereby the message or whatever is going along the lines of faithfulness or favor or something. There's an expectation. Now, worship team, your responsibility is be in the spirit and minister along that line. Yes, it would be good if pastor was there from the beginning, but it's not your responsibility. It's not. It's between him and God. Whatever he has to do in the office. You, like we said earlier, you have there's a demand placed on you based on that office that you occupy. Fulfill the demands of that office. You minister to God and to his people, ushering them into his presence. Finish. You're not ministering to pastor. You're not ministering for pastor. You're ministering to God. I say something, I tell people that I don't lead worship per se. It shouldn't be that we lead worship. It should be that we're leading a procession of worshipers. Because when you say you're leading worship, it's almost as if the image that comes to mind is you and then them. But in actual sense, it should be a case of you leading a procession of worshipers. So, no disrespect. Sorry? Exactly. No disrespect intended, but whoever decides to join for whatever reason further down the line, it shouldn't bother you, because you're leading a procession of worshipers. We're going into, from the outer court, inner court, is the Holy of Holies. If by the time you're in the Holy of Holies, somebody is now starting their own journey, yeah,